How y'all doing? Arthur Scott. The sun's so bright, I just had to get a little visual of it. You know what I'm saying? But I was bored. Just got back from boxing class. I saw Lex Will's video when it was talking about the Hebrews being taken from this land and distributed through India, and the fact that even the people that you would consider Indonesian, I don't know, but not Indonesian, I'm sorry, but you know, the people from India, the thoght people, even when there was a man from Africa within the Indian territories, he was referring to what we would appear or call a Negro, people looking more like us and the people of Papua New Guinea and stuff like that. And even in the land of India, people who look like us Negroes were referred to as the Indians, or, you know, the lesser people in a sense, to the point that they were separated in the community. So, me being from Louisiana, I watched King Drop today, and he showed that little clip that I still have to research about there being a river or a body of water that goes through the New Orleans area, and that having something to do with Hebron, which makes me think of, I want to know what's in the Louisiana mounds. So, of course, just my family history and stuff like that is within my mind, because I literally span the whole gap of Louisiana as far as genetics, except for northern Louisiana. But as far as the Mississippi line, where I am right now, Slidell, Louisiana, my mother's side is from here, rooted even easter into the Mississippi, and my father's side on the Texas line. So I'm sitting here driving down the highway. I'm gonna get a quick shot of my grandmother's house where we grew up, but it's not really relevant. But I'm on my way to the graveyard. So when I get to the graveyard, I'll slightly tell one side of my family history, which is my mother's family side. I have a family reunion in the beginning of September, and I'll show you my father's side. But all this land right here, including the broken down house, hopefully you can see, is my grandmother's land, as well as some of the territories over there are not necessarily my grandmother's, but rooted within the family line. I'm about to pass up my turn, and I caught it. But rooted within the family line are those territories through the Choctaw side. On my mother's family side, so through the Pishon bloodline, my mother's father is a Jones, which we'll delve into, because there's a racial split, and my mother's childhood shows victim to that, which I will get into, and I will ballpark everything once I get to my house and buy my laptop. So y'all might as well look at this with me. But look at this hole in the wall woods junk I'm driving down. Literally, that is the landscape. You know, there's backwoods and there's backwoods, really. There's a house there. But anyway, literally, there's a tree in the middle of the road. It's been raining, y'all. I bet there's a tree in the middle of the thing back here. And I just turned off into a unmarked location onto a gravel road. And little shed. Rumor has it, my brother says he saw it. But if you actually journey through these woods on foot, you will find a pike with a human skull still on it. So I believe in the Creator's got me. And plus, I've been going to this graveyard since childhood. So I'm not necessarily spiritually worried about that. My vibration is way too high. I look like somebody saw it up the tree that was laying across here last time I came. So excuse my slow talking. I'm trying to be careful because, as you see, the mud, and I'm in the swamp, and it's hard to tell what's a grave. So I want to park on that slab right there, but I'm not gonna, because just because that's not my family member don't mean they don't deserve the respectacles. All right. So I'm out here, literally in a place that is in threat of disappearing into the marshes and such. A lot of families tied back here. In all due respect, I might circle to look at some of the names and see if, you know, if it rings a bell to any of y'all out there, y'all can research the names or whatever and see where the connections are. But I'm just interested in my family. Sometimes when I'm bored, I'll come out here with a blunt and smoke and play a guitar. I don't think it's disrespectful. I really don't. Come smoke, paying my respects, but at the same time not venerating or worshiping any of the fallen souls, just only my blessings for the future and their judgment, because we all have to go through it. Now, I'm walking further than I need to. That's my ancestors right there. But right here, I'm not going to go any further because the grass gets tall and you already know what we're dealing with. Even possibly right there. These are graves disappearing. Negroes, some along the Creole line, but this is a black graveyard. But I'm pretty sure back there where the names disappear and the vines and foliage start to cover, people are being forgotten in history. Histories are being forgotten. Ways of tracing the truth are disappearing in the lineages. So, shame. Right here, literally, my feet just blended into the ground. Grave. Somebody's resting. Grave. And this is the one that always gets me. And I hate about Louisiana graveyards. But you see just a small indentation right here? That is a soul resting in peace, hopefully. As well as this one right here. This is a soul resting in peace. And I pray for him. And the graveyard is so untamed and untaken care of by the newer generations. And I'm just in no financial way to even do anything about it. I don't want, even though it doesn't matter, I don't want my resting place to be just forgotten. Now, you can blame this on me and my family. It's been raining a lot, and plus, we come out here for a certain day every year, and we weed eat and da-da-da-da-da. But this is my great-grandmother on my mother's father's side. And this side with me lies mystery, as far as the Negro is concerned. But here at the bottom is my actual grandfather, served in Korea, Afro brother. But my grandmother here, love her to death, very light skin and also Asiatic eyes along the Creole line. And along this family line right here, which I will take you to another graveyard, it splits white and black. And there's a racial divide to the point that even my mother, being a more lighter skinned child, my grandfather would not let her live in the house for a certain amount of years. And then after a great aunt of mine, who was the caretaker, passed on, they had no choice but to take my light-skinned mother into the home. And don't confuse that with any, foul play. My mother looks like my grandfather, just very light. Other relatives, this is my Uncle Earl, and I can go down the line as you see. But she is a Choctaw, and those lands I pass by are in her name, passed down through her lineages. And there's salt and peppered lands from where I'm standing now and where we passed up, going all the way to Lacombe. It's two towns, literally. So that's the family lines. That's Choctaw, supposable Esau, but it didn't work out in the end because ain't no respect. So after a brief intermission, few words from our sponsors. I'm trying not to step on anybody because I don't want nobody stepping on me in the future, which I really wouldn't care. But that's my bench. That's where I play my guitar. It's normally weed eat it. But graves disappearing, man. Back into the forest beyond your sight. Oh snap. Wasn't watching while I was stepping. See that little cross right there? I have no idea how far to or fro he extends. So if I have stepped on someone, I do apologize. Not in the sense of veneration for any spirits or whatever, but at the same time, just respect for life, the essence. You know what I'm saying? Hey, that which once lived. As far as the human being, you know what I'm saying. Don't try to confuse my words. So anyway, back through the small brush that will eventually disappear. I doubt it lasts another generation. I really do. Another generation, 20 years from now, people won't be turning down this road. People won't care about the oak trees and all this other stuff back here. And these lands of forefathers and foremothers will be gone. This is Indian history all back through here, because the Choctaw name is strong down here, as well as the Cherokee name. We shall continue after these words from our sponsors.
I'd rather be with you, yeah. Yeah, I'd rather be with you. I'd rather be with you until I'm through. Oh yes, I do. I'd rather be with you until that day will fly away. I just love that smiling face in the other side. If I can have you to myself, then life's no fun. I'd rather be with you, yeah. Yeah, I'd rather be with you. I'd rather be with you, yeah.
Arthur Scott, back at you. Traveling through some more stolen Indian territory, and you could tell that this is taking Indian territory when you get back here, because on my way here there's like all these roads with one mailbox at the end and long curvy roads that disappear into the woods, and you know there's like some ridiculous sized house back there because there's a lot of just green foliage. I live in a swamp. If you can't tell, you dig. This is thick bush I live in that has been cleared out. But what I'm turning in is to an area called Dubuisson. Dubuisson. And this is where I'll say the very light skin will separate from the quote unquote darker Negro. Because this is where my mother was sent during her childhood, and she actually lived back here in these wooded areas. And you know, she has her stories about riding bikes and scraping her knees and such or whatever, but every time I notice we're in the store, and even one time at this graveyard that we're driving to, you can see like a white person at the graveyard, you know, showing respects that they did, and it'll literally, they'll have your last name, like they'll be at a grave that is on the other side of the graveyard with the same last name. My mom actually works with a lady, and they come from a rooted last name, and when they talk to each other, they found out like, yeah, they're separated in that fashion. Like somebody slept with a housekeeper or something like that, and you get it, you know the story. House nigga, field nigga. But anyway, look at this luscious, beautiful territory I'm about to turn into. And yeah, it's still been raining, so it's not as beautiful as I remember as a child right now. But where y'all get this land to the point y'all got boats and all this junk on a private lake that I'm sure belonged to somebody? I'm pretty sure my people used to fish back here and all kind of stuff. But these people are separated, you know, and I ain't seen no extra bougie people walking around Slidell, Louisiana. So, you know, these the old rednecks who, you know, pimping since been pimping. But my mother had to be sent to this section of town, which I'm starting to think is the house Negro section of town. Yeah, they got bamboo in Louisiana, if y'all ain't believe me. I don't know what y'all know about it. Hoping these white folks don't come outside, but they should be used to it. There's a graveyard in your backyard. Cemetery, I'm sorry. Now this is so nice. It's gated, and you know, there's a sign up on the fence as well as a little statue monument. You know, it's fenced off on that side as well as others. You know, it's just so nice. So nice. I might take a piece of bamboo home with me. Like, you know, when you get a chance to have bamboo, I can fish with that. But as soon as you walk in, Pichon. But my mother told me this is not my family. But at the same time, it is my family. You know the line. Even this woman who is this thing is a credit. Oh my God, I hope I'm not stepping on her. I don't think this is her grave. If it is, why would they have it right in the doorway? But if I am, ma'am, excuse me. But this is just a monument for her years of devoted service to the Dubuisson Cemetery, you know. And I can't tell if that woman's white or Rosa Parks. Think about Rosa Parks. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. But Pichon Dubuisson Galatis, which I hear I am rooted in. My family was actually adopted by some Pichons and raised by them. So that's a whole nother weird story. Not to mention the whole light skin aspect. You wonder what the definition of adoption was. Pages. Narcisse. I don't know why I like that last name. It's just easy to remember. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't kick the corner of somebody's grave. My bad. But look at my walkway. And it's not because I'm just doing this, but they didn't put the slaves on top of each other. It's a lot more spacey over there. You know, no disrespect. I'm sorry. And see, from here to here, the square's facing that way. I don't think I'm stepping on nobody. But look at my walkway. Look at the respect for the ancestors. Quit putting me on top of people. I was hoping and praying that when I came back here, that any flooding would not lift anything out of a grave that I wouldn't want to see. Those of y'all crosses on y'all graves, I hope y'all, you know, is ignorance bliss? Will they be judged for those crosses on their graves representing Canaanite things? Because I know right here, my people ain't got no crosses on their graves. Yeah, that's kind of the top of a cross. But anyway, this is my grandmother's father, mother, and brother. So my mother's father, mother, and brother. So my great-grandparents and my, I guess, older uncle, I guess you can say. But the interesting thing is, if you would have seen my uncle before he died, and I think I have a picture I can show you when I get home. He was so red. So red. It's like, you know, they have yellow and light skinned or whatever. My mom's yellow. But this man was red. And he had a shine to him. And supposedly, right here, Peter Pichon, it gets a little bit shinier red. And my grandmother, I don't hear much about. Don't hear much about her. But an interesting fact is, let me find this man, because I know where he is. Because he is partial legend as far as the graveyard is concerned. Now see that? What am I supposed to do with that? How do I respect that if I'm walking past on a whim? How do I respect that? I mean, I have respect for it, you know, but at the same time, do a little bit better, people. Now see that, I don't know. It all ballparks when I get home to my computer, because it doesn't make sense to me as far as the history that they give us with the whole African thing. It just wouldn't make sense. Now we already know it's a lie, but this in my mind is my family proof that it's a lie. I think that's him right there in that box. Nope, sorry. It's right next to that box in that little thing. Now this man who produced my mother's cousin, who also is a very strange red man with, you know, freckle-faced red man. He's black. He grows an afro, but it's just a different look, you know. It's kind of like partial Puerto Rican. But have you ever seen those Italians, like the Sicilians, who look like, I don't know what color you are, because your skin tone is Mexican, your hair is Greek, but everything else about you is Negro. So that's where those lines mix and crisscross. And I wonder who these people are outside the fence. That's a whole nother question. Oh yeah, I'm taking this piece of bamboo with me. Sorry, going back. When you get a chance to, like, you know, just be seeing bamboo and stuff. Yeah, just a walking stick right there. You know what I'm saying? A little flimsy, but I'm not a heavy man. But people look over there looking out the window like, oh my God, the Negro grabbed the stick. Oh dear God. Oh no. Brief intermission, I'll be back.
So drift to that.
which you can't get the full detail on because it's my phone. And even from here, I can see the reflection of the camera and the reflection of the phone and the reflection of the camera. But that is Uncle Dickie. And supposedly it only gets more red the next generation up. That's my mother's side. That is my grandmother's brother. And they both just had a unique red tone. I trust y'all enough to show my family pictures without any judgment like that or whatever, because we're all learning about the history of ourselves. So I'm not even worried about that judgment. But here is my aunt, my grandmother in the middle, and my mother at the end. My mother is the very light-skinned woman. I think I have a younger picture. Right there, my mother and my older sister. My sister has a different father than me, so me and my brother have a different Y chromosome. You see. So therefore, I didn't get that light gene or whatever. But yeah, that's my Choctaw branch. I go on vacation in a few. I'm going to show y'all the other graveyards on the other side of Louisiana that tell my slave family story, because there's some housekeepers on my mother's side. You, of course, hear about the Indians. You, of course, hear about the European interjection. But on my father's side, you hear about slavery. So, anyway, even though I know it's a sense of propaganda, Lex will video about the India Negro being the Indian Negro in comparison to us, the Indian Negro. If you can see that, forget the Africa and all that other junk that they normally show us. Of course, I have Native American, and I actually don't believe that counts as red, man. I think that's kind of just some undeniable, my DNA is over here back in, so I really don't believe these numbers, because if you killed off a lot of me and stopped counting me as a Native American, then that'd be less and less people you'd compare me to as relative. So I peeped the hijack. Polynesian, that kind of goes with the whole four corners of the earth, traveling, so on and so forth. But where is it? Where is it? Where is this? South Asia or something like that. Asia South. Ancestry DNA. I know it's a hijack, but I still think there's undeniable nuggets, even though they reshift the numbers to be like, oh yeah, you have India, but don't pay attention to that, because there's so few people in India that you have genetic relation to. Why? Because you killed them? Because you subjugate them? So through the slave history and through the brief European history, why do I have India? Why do I have Polynesia? Why do I have North and South America within my DNA structure? And I know within those three, they're hiding things, and there's certain amounts of information they don't want to tell me about. So, these are just things I wanted to get on camera, these are things I'm thinking about as far as my juggle and the hijack. And sorry, let me turn this back around. Camera and computer are no longer needed. And the fact that Hebron was brought up in correlation to Louisiana and a certain body of water. Man, because for almost 6 years now, I've had Child of Abraham tattooed on my arm. Because I heard it in church, we the children of Abraham, this, that, and I forgot how the pastor brought it about or whatever, but I'll say that at least inspired me or whatever, because that is something to hang to. The children of Abraham. Isaac and Jacob, of course. But I was young in my studies. So, synchronicities, man. Vibrate with me. Off the Scott.